Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. Well, I got caught by another gadget up at the checkout counter at the hardware store. I was waiting in line for quite a while behind some guy who was buying a bunch of stuff for winter. I mean, we are getting our first frost tonight, so there is that, but still. Anyway, this is the True Utility Crafty 2.0. It's a utility knife, and I figured the 2.0 meant that they fixed whatever was wrong with the 1.0, and the name was familiar, and that's because I did a true Smart Knife Plus video a long time ago. This thing has so many features packed into it. Some of them are okay, but you know, things like putting the bit holder right here on the end, and when you turn it, it actually starts to spread the pivot area of the blade. Plus it's got a really tiny, really tiny little pry bar area that just looks like a good way to break the knife. Anyway, I don't know. I got caught again. Here it is. The way this works, there's a simple push button, and it actually has a blade cover that moves up and out of the way, or down and out of the way. This is 420 stainless steel. For changing the blades, there's a button here that you can push, and it just releases everything. You can see the top part pop up here. So pretty simple there. When it's in the blade covered position, this obviously you can't move enough to release the blade, so there's nothing. But again, going back to that carabiner, I thought that makes a lot of sense. Most of the utility knives I have all have pocket clips, and I honestly don't use the pocket clip that much except to hook it onto a bag. And I thought, you know, a carabiner or you know, a little snap link thing might actually be better. Of course, you can always put different kinds of lanyards on them. Some are well-developed lanyard holes. Some are definitely like sharp afterthoughts. I can't imagine that lasting too long. And then some of them are just monstrous like that, but also then conflict with your belt clip. About the only, or pocket clip, the only one I really use is this one here, and I wish it was deep carry because I absolutely love this thing. But even the Gerber, it feels more like a money clip than, you know, any real way to stow the thing when it's not in use. So I thought about that, but it turns out, you know, you can't really get this on a lot of stuff, and that's one of the problems. I was thinking at least, you know, a little snap link or something. It's almost more for key rings because that doesn't close. Now, I can get it around this, which I just happen to have nearby. That does work. But what happens, especially with round carabiners, and the reason we don't use just traditional oval, old-school carabiners anymore, and instead use these D-shaped ones, is to get the gate out of the way so you can get something larger in there. In this case, it's probably going to be an 11mm rope. But others, like this one, you can see really open large, but it has to do with the gate's ability to close. You know, you can see that's about it right there. So that's my actual distance that's usable. Sometimes it looks like you've got, you know, monstrous things, and you do, because like these, you know, that's pretty big for grabbing a lot of stuff, but it isn't necessarily for fitting, say, one large thing in. Here's an example on this. This isn't designed to fit some single huge thing, because look how small that is. This is actually designed to fit multiple ropes or multiple attachments inside here. That's kind of the shape of the thing, not necessarily one great big giant thing. So that's kind of where that comes from. And in fact, if you want to test it out, you can, you know, get different sized sockets, you know, to see. This one's an 18mm. It's obviously not going to fit. An example here, I can use this one. The 18 does fit in there. You see that? But a 19, that's where you hit the end. The 19 does not fit. I could probably force it. If it was a rope, I'd have a little pliability, but nobody uses a 19mm rope that I know of. I guess in sailing you would. Maybe get something that large, but that's one of the problems. So you have to understand, you know, the limitations of this kind of closure device, and it really doesn't have a lot it can clip to, but that is kind of nice. If you got a little thing on your bag, you can just clip it to it and unclip it easily, hopefully, rather than trying to slide down over the edge of a pocket or something else. It has 0 blade storage, which is unfortunate. Does come with 2 other blades, but there's no place to put them, and it seems like they could have easily designed it even though it's fairly thin with a little bit of blade storage. It fits nice in the hand. It's almost got, you know, the beginning of a little pistol grip almost. But overall, I don't know, for the 15 bucks or whatever it cost, I think it's on to onto something, but I don't think it's arrived yet. So maybe the Crafty 3.0 with a more robust carabiner and less artwork. And then this, I did notice, you can't, when it's down, when it's open, you know, you can actually depress this all the way flush, and it does not close. You have to really go all the way in order to get this thing to close. So it's, kind of see that there. So it's fairly safe. Anyway, kind of an interesting utility knife. I'm really getting excited more about utility knives because you can beat on them so hard that and not worry, swap the blades. Even in hunting, you can get utility or replaceable blades, kind of the utility knife idea, so you always have a sharp blade when you leave. It doesn't hold the ceramic blades, it's way too thin, but it does seem to hold almost all standard size blades without any trouble. Simple design, probably more handy than functional, but there it is. And with that, Doc out.